belt shadows of a promising town, Caleb Faulkner carried the weight of his past like chains. A working-class man, fists scarred from old wars he wished he could forget. Once a storm of violence, now fighting just to stand still. Every day he showed up at his Uncle Benji's supply yard, supervising the hauling pallets, loading trucks, chasing the fragile promise of a second chance. Sweat on his brow, calluses on his hands, and a quiet vow to build something clean for the family he still had left. But one ordinary afternoon, his young son Barron vanished. 8 years old, bright eyes, endless questions. Gone. No note, no witness. Just Caleb tore through the streets, voice raw, knocking on every door. The hours stretched into a nightmare that wouldn't end. Then came the news. They found Barron on the old train tracks outside town, tiny body broken on the cold steel, the evening freight long gone. The authorities moved fast. Case closed almost before the tears dried. Suicide, they said. A child's tragic impulse. Too many questions left unanswered. No one listened when Caleb screamed that his boy would never walk those tracks alone. But Caleb knew. Deep in his bones, where the violence used to live, he felt the lie. Something darker had taken his son. Someone had put him there. The police reports gathered dust. Detectives shrugged, paperwork filed, sympathy thin. "We're doing all we can," they told him, words that tasted like ash. Now Uncle Benji watches over him, worried that old Caleb is waking up. The supply business keeps running, trucks rumble, chains rattle. But inside, Caleb's world has collapsed into rage and grief. Every unanswered question fuels the fire. Every dead-end lead carves deeper lines into his face. He stares down those same tracks where they found his boy, fists clenched. Rebuilding a life was hard enough. Now Caleb Faulkner isn't just fighting for redemption. He's hunting for truth in a town that wants the secret buried with his son. And if the system won't give him justice, he just might take it himself. In the shadowed ruins of a life once rebuilt, Caleb Faulkner stood at the edge of darkness. Grief had hollowed him since the day his young son Barron was found broken on those cold train tracks. The authorities called it suicide. Caleb knew better. Suspicion festered like an open wound, pulling him deeper with every unanswered question. Driven by a father's unrelenting pain and a burning belief that the truth had been buried, Caleb crossed into the unknown. Under the harsh midday sun, he struck at Ethan's school. Barron's quiet classmate, a boy whose innocent face masked deeper secrets. Ethan was the son of Lyle Chambers, the powerful local politician whose influence wrapped the town in invisible chains. With calculated calm forged from his violent past, Caleb took the boy from the edges of the schoolyard. No screams, no struggle, just the firm grip of desperation as he guided Ethan into the truck. They drove in tense silence through winding back roads, the engine's low rumble mixing with the distant whistle of trains that haunted Caleb's every thought, until the headlights cut through the trees and revealed a place of memories. Skies. Memories of his son's laughter still clung to the creaking floorboards and the gentle lapping of waves. Now, the Cove became a place of reckoning, its walls heavy with ghosts. Inside the dimly lit cabin, shadows stretched long as Caleb sat Ethan down. The boy's small frame trembled at first, eyes wide with fear, but as Caleb paced the creaking floor, his scarred fists clenched, his gravelly voice cut through the silence. "You were with Barron that day. He trusted you. Who put him there? Tell me the truth." Ethan, though scared, began to play mind games. His young voice, trembling yet clever, pushed back. "You think I know something. Maybe Barron was scared of you, the way you get angry. Maybe that's why he went to the tracks alone." The boy's words twisted like knives, testing Caleb, deflecting with innocent-sounding questions that planted doubt. Caleb leaned closer, grief sharpening his tone, refusing to break. He offered food between questions, his interrogation a careful dance of pressure and broken tenderness. He believed Ethan held fragments of the puzzle whispers tied to his father's world of power that explained why an 8-year-old ended up dead on railroad steel. The boy's mind games only fueled the fire, each clever deflection deepening Caleb's suspicion and rage. As the night deepened over Barron's Cove, Caleb Faulkner teetered on the brink. A working man lost in loss and fury, risking everything for answers the world refused to give. Fragile tension between captor and captive began to fracture. Caleb Faulkner, his scarred hand still clenched in grief, pressed Ethan harder for answers about those fateful train tracks. But in the boy's trembling confessions and evasive eyes, something darker emerged. Caleb discovered the bruises hidden beneath Ethan's sleeves, marks not from this moment, but from a pattern of cruelty at home. The shift came slowly, like the lake's tide turning. Caleb's rage softened into something protective. No longer just interrogating a lead, he found himself shielding the boy, offering food, speaking in gentler tones, his violent past yielding to an unexpected paternal instinct. Caleb muttered, the weight of two broken boys heavy on his shoulders. In the dim cabin light, captor and captive forged an uneasy bond, built on shared pain and quiet understanding. Ethan's mind games faded into hesitant trust, revealing fragments of truth about his father's dealings. Outside their isolated world, Lyle Chambers unleashed hell. The influential politician wielded his media empire and political allies like weapons. Press conferences painted Caleb as a dangerous fugitive, a violent ex-con who had kidnapped an innocent child in a fit of madness. News vans swarmed the town and search parties mobilized under Lyle's influence. The narrative was clear: Caleb was the monster, not the man hunting for justice. Yet at Barron's Cove, as waves lapped gently against the shore, Caleb stood guard over Ethan, torn between protecting this new fragile life and the burning need to expose the truth behind his own son's death. As the noose tightened around Barron's Cove, hell descended without warning. Mercenaries sent by Lyle Chambers descended on Caleb Faulkner's home under the cover of darkness, unleashing a brutal firebombing that lit the night sky in raging flames. Explosions ripped through the walls, shattering glass and hope alike. In the chaos of gunfire and collapsing timber, young Ethan sustained a deep gunshot wound, blood soaking through his clothes as the boy cried out in pain. With his world burning behind him, Caleb grabbed Ethan and fled into the night. He sought help from his only true friend, a loyal, rough-edged ally from his killing days, who hid them in a safe location and worked frantically to bandage the boy's wound. After arriving at their next shelter, in that tense hiding place, the devastating truth finally clawed its way to the surface. Ethan, tormented by years of his father's brutal abuse, had played a direct role in Barron's death. Driven by deep trauma and a poisonous jealousy toward the love and attention that Barron received from Caleb, what started as a bitter, misguided act spiraled into irreversible tragedy. Ethan's tearful, halting confession hung heavy in the air, breaking Caleb's heart all over again. In that moment of raw revelation, the grieving father's rage gave way to something more fierce and violent. The story raced toward its shattering climax on Lyle Chambers' sleek private boat slicing through the Black Lake waters. Caleb, fueled by grief and unyielding resolve, stormed aboard under the sunlight for a final explosive confrontation. Voices thundered across the deck as Caleb faced the powerful politician. Before the truth could fully emerge, police boats cut through the waves. Detective Navarro. Shots cracked through. Caleb was hit. Pain exploded through his body as he staggered and fell backward into the cold, unforgiving water. Detective Navarro dove in without hesitation, pulling Caleb from the depths and refusing to let the case, or the man, disappear beneath the waves. With Ethan's full confession now secured, the boy was taken into protective custody, shielded at last from his father's toxic influence. Lyle Chambers' carefully built empire of power and lies began to crumble under the light of justice. In the quiet days that followed, Barron finally received the justice he had been denied for so long. By fighting to protect Ethan, another vulnerable and broken child, he had done what the world had failed to do. A working-class man with a violent past had become a quiet guardian in the darkness. Though the loss of Barron would never leave him, he comforts himself with memories of his son. Thank you for watching.